Well, full time, Brentford 1, Arsenal 3. You remember in my match preview, I told you it's not going to be an easy game, and I thought it could go 2-1 and in favor of Arsenal. And when Arsenal were down by 1 goal, I was like, it was just a matter of time for them to obviously go ahead and obviously score a goal and obviously show to it that they are not here for jokes. Welcome to the Rokani Media Football. This is the 19th game for the club of Arsenal, and they've gone ahead obviously come up and obviously win this beautiful game of football, and they're really trying to put in a very huge shift as anticipated. And guess what? They are not stopping. I tell you, they are not stopping. The club of Arsenal looks like they are trying hard to see to it that everything really moves on as planned. So let's see close to 300 likes much in this video, and Arsenal are really cruising to where they deserve to be. In the 13th minute, you know what happened? Martin Odegaard went ahead obviously lose the ball at the center line, and then Damsgaard went ahead obviously make a very huge run through the central axis of the pitch, and then he released Mbeumo, and Mbeumo went ahead to obviously chop outside, and then went in for the near post, and it was 1-0 in the 13th minute. And Arsenal almost went ahead obviously concede a second goal, and this would have gone ahead to be one of the mistakes that this goalkeeper would have gone ahead obviously come up and really explain to the world as to why he let this go past him. And if this crossed the line, I tell you, it would have gone ahead to be one of those moments that Arsenal fans were really going to be furious. David Raya, this is unacceptable. You're a top goalkeeper, and I don't know where his mind was when that ball was shot at him, because it never looked like a heavy shot, but the way he really went ahead obviously so either uses one hand, and that ball skipped past him to obviously go into the mouth of the goal, and no sooner was it nearing crossing the goal line than David Raya went ahead to obviously use his left hand to obviously clear it off the line, as you see him there, and Arsenal survived a very clear clear mess from David Raya. You see, that's how the ball was going to cross the line, and he dived and really picked it out before it crossed the line. And those were how many minutes after they had conceded, because they had conceded around it was so 12 minutes later after conceding, that's when this happened. I tell you, that's when this happened, I tell you. And if that game goes to 2-0, does Arsenal really get back? I think it would have gone ahead to obviously make it hard. That would have gone ahead to turn out into a mountain from a molehill, because 1-0 ahead of you, obviously it's a molehill for the club of Arsenal. 2-0 in 25 minutes, obviously that would have gone ahead to be climbing a Mount Everest for the club of Arsenal. And with the very many games that you're really having as a club of Arsenal, you don't want your players to be worked hard, you know. You don't want your players to be worked hard in such a situation. And they went ahead and obviously pulled one back in Arsenal went ahead to pull one back in the 29th minute through Gabriel Jesus. And that means 16 minutes after them going down, they had to obviously come up and obviously put it back to level terms. And for that goal, you have to give credit to Thomas Partey, who goes ahead for that tricky curling effort, you know, at the far post, and the goalkeeper couldn't obviously get hold of it, and he really went ahead obviously punch it back, you know, into the vicinity where Gabriel Jesus was, and Gabriel Jesus went ahead obviously he directed it with his header into the back of the net. And this is what I told people, that Gabriel Jesus has what we call real number 9 instincts. I know many people have gone ahead and obviously ridiculed him, that he's not a number 9, and I've told them that Gabriel Jesus is a number 9, but his problem is he gets injured, and he needs obviously work on his fitness to obviously see to it that he can play a huge number of games before the season comes to an end, and that's what he's supposed to do. And you see to it that in the last games he has gone ahead to score 6 goals, and that is from Crystal Palace, Carabao Cup, Crystal Palace, Premier League, those were 5, Brighton, he never scored, and today he came up and obviously scored. Those are 6 goals in 4 games, and those goals he has gone here to score, they are more than the goals he scored for Arsenal in the last 48 appearances. It shows you how injuries had gone ahead, obviously, cost the career of this guy. And if you're an Arsenal fan, you would love to see Gabriel Jesus in such a mode. This is the mode you would like to see him in, because if Kai Havertz is trying to obviously push to see to it that all goes on well as planned and put in a very big shift, then even for you in such a moment, you have to come up and obviously put in the required shift altogether to see to it that you put in that Gabriel Jesus effort to your positive end. Because the more you have Gabriel Jesus sharpening and Kai Havertz sharpening, that means the more goals you people are really going to be scoring. That is it. No doubt about it. It's that. It's written all over. It's written on the clean canvas that if you're having Jesus scoring goals, Kai Havertz scoring goals, that will be okay. Because when Havertz doesn't score, Jesus will show up. In the game of Crystal Palace, they both scored. In the game of Brighton, it's Kai Havertz that scored. Then today, Kai Havertz never even made it to the match squad. Then Jesus went ahead to obviously score the most important goal of this. Because if this game goes to half time when it's 1-0, I tell you, it's not gonna do the needful. Because even if you score the first goal, it's level 1-1. Even if you score the second goal, it's 1-2. Meaning that Gabriel Jesus goal gave Arteta a very huge stepping ground to obviously come and build onto something pretty in the second half that you saw to it that went ahead to happen. In just 3 minutes, Arsenal had 2 goals. In the 50th minute, Mikel Merino went ahead and obviously scored a goal. I think it was all about a set piece. And 3 minutes later, Gabriel Martinelli, also a goal from a set piece. He buried that ball into the back of the net. Those were the 2 goals scored in 3 minutes. And when that happened, I was like, that game is buried, because the backline of Arsenal is not that backline that you think is really going to concede very many goals. Even when you've gone ahead to see to it that Arsenal have lost a game this season to Newcastle, Arsenal lost to Newcastle this season. You know what happened? 1-0. Arsenal lost when they conceded 1 goal. Bournemouth, you know what happened? Saliba got out and they went ahead to obviously score those 2 goals when they're really a 10-man team. So it shows you that it's very hard for Arsenal to concede 2 goals, by the way. Very, very hard. I think they've conceded 2 goals against Liverpool. Is it Southampton? Which other side? Against Man City. And even when they're playing against Man City, they are really a man down. So it's very hard for Arsenal to concede 2 goals. So when I saw them leading by 3 goals to 1, I was like, even if the worst goes to the worst, Arsenal will only go ahead and obviously concede 1 more, which is really a rare occasion. So I'm like, it's really one of those moments that are really exciting for the club of Arsenal to see they're really pushing to where they want to be. So this is where we are, and Brentford is one of those teams that has been in huge form. And I warned you about Mbeumo and Wissa. And who scores Arsenal first? It's Mbeumo. The man is in fine form. And don't be surprised if at all Arsenal comes up and obviously shows serious interest into signing this player. Interest has been there, I won't lie, from Mbeumo. And he ticks all the boxes for the side of Arsenal. But it hasn't gone ahead to obviously reflect out well for the side of Arsenal to see to it that all really goes on well as planned. So we are waiting to see how Arsenal is really going to move on. But Martinelli has again scored. Good for him. Mikel Merino, guys, he gave Arsenal a second lifeline after Gabriel Jesus came up and obviously put in a very beautiful shift into the mix. So in so doing, that is really great for the club of Arsenal. The comeback was really great. It got completed, and 3 players on target. And this is what I've always wanted to talk about, that you need an even distribution of goals if you want to see to it that your team wins the trophy. You'll talk about they need a number 9, but a team like City that has a number 9, their number 9 has gone ahead to get hit. Their number 9 got what we call a drought, and he got on target recently in the last game they played. I think, was it on the 29th? You know, that is Erling Haaland even got a penalty and missed when they were really playing against they're playing which team? Was it Everton? I think it was Everton here. So all you need is an even distribution of goals, and Nwaneri came in and obviously put in a very huge show. I told you that's what you get from Nwaneri, because he really gets hold onto that ball and he can invert and he can invite pressure. And the more you are really press resistant, that means very many players will obviously come to you, and that will create small pockets of space that will see these other Arsenal players really dive into to see to it that all goes as planned. So Brentford couldn't obviously handle Arsenal, and Arsenal erupted in 3 minutes from the 50th minute and the 53rd minute, and they had to obviously kill off the game. So I loved how they really looked today, and the manager really got it right. So that is Arsenal for you. Winning is one of those that I was going to hate obviously be onto their list, and they needed to win this game of football to sit the coast line on Liverpool. I'm going to be showing you those points that have gone ahead obviously impress me into this beautiful game of football, as everything is really happening for the club of Arsenal. I know pressure was on them because this time round they are the ones chasing Liverpool, and Liverpool is exerting pressure and Arsenal is also exerting pressure onto them. Then Brentford had 5 shots, Arsenal had 14. Brentford had 2 shots on target. That's what I told you, that Arsenal rarely concedes shots on targets, right? And Arsenal had 5 shots on target, and out of those 5, 3 crossed the line, and that shows you how clinical Arsenal was today. All they needed today was to obviously kill off those chances. That is it. That's what Arsenal needed. Kill off those chances, and after killing them off, all would have gone ahead obviously be okay at the end. And 51% ball possession by Brentford. Arsenal had 49% ball possession. Then 479 passes completed by Brentford, and Arsenal completed 467. 82% passing accuracy by Brentford, and Arsenal had 83% passing accuracy. 6 fouls by Brentford, 8 fouls by Arsenal, 1 yellow card to Brentford and 2 yellow cards to Arsenal. 0 red cards to both sides, understand? And 0 offsides to Brentford and 6 offsides to Arsenal. 4 corners to Brentford, 3 corners to Arsenal. That's how everything really went ahead obviously happened down there at the stadium of Gitek Community Stadium, as Arsenal went ahead obviously beat the side of Brentford by 3-1. But the first half was really very exciting, and even the second half was exciting. But when Arsenal went ahead to obviously score those 2 goals, they are like, let's obviously get this game to our control, and they should play to our pace. You understand? And that's what Mikel Arteta went ahead to do. And again today, set pieces have gone ahead obviously to save Arsenal. And I've gone ahead to see something on Sky Sports talking of the top scorers of Arsenal in I think the last year. Corners are really on top with 25 goals. You know, Saka comes next. I think Kai Havertz comes next. Martinelli in the mix. I think there comes Martin Odegaard. You understand? So it shows you that they've gone ahead obviously get very many goals from corners than from any individual player. But I think this season it's really going to change a little bit, because Jesus has now 6 goals and he's really trying to push up. In his entire season he's having 7. So we're waiting to see how that really pans out. Now let's go to the table and see how it's really looking for now, because this is where we want to see to it that everything really goes on as listed down by the Premier League. Liverpool, 18 games played, they're having 45 points. Arsenal, 19 games played, they're having 39 points. I told you they are closing down on Liverpool like no other. Nottingham Forest, 19 games, 37 points. And Chelsea, 19 games, 35 points. Newcastle, 19 games, 32 points. Man City, 19 games, 31 points. Bournemouth, 19 games, 30 points. And Fulham, 19 games, 29 points. Aston Villa, 19 games, 29 points. Brighton, 19 games, 27 points. And Brighton is hosting Arsenal next at their Vitality Stadium. You understand? And this is one of the most important games of Arsenal, because if they win this game, if Arsenal wins this game, they will be 3 points behind Liverpool. They'll go to 42 points, and that is on the 4th of January when Liverpool is going to be hosting Manchester United the next day. And for Man United, why there is a glimmer of hope into that game of football, there are two players that are really very pivotal into the system of this manager that are really going to be returning. Who am I talking about? Ugarte. He missed out the game of Newcastle because he had obviously gone ahead to get 5 yellow cards. And then the other player that went ahead to miss out of this action was none other than Bruno Fernandes, who got a red card when United was being beaten by Wolverhampton Wanderers at the Molineux. You understand? So that's how important it is. So the next game for Arsenal is going to be against Liverpool. And I tell you, FA Cup, after playing FA Cup, teams are really going to have a rest of like 9 days, 14 days. And the league will resume around the 11th, 13th there. And I hope everything will go on as planned. The substitutes, I loved it when the manager went ahead and obviously rested most of his players. Jesus was taken off, and Zinchenko came on. I think that's what the last substitution of the manager. Carafiori was taken off for Lewis Kelly, and Lewis Kelly came and looked really very solid at that left back position of Arsenal. Then Declan Rice came out, obviously add some still in the midfield because the game was done. That's, and the manager was like, let's kill it off. And let me see who else came on. Who else came on? Leandro Trossard also came on. So all the 5 substitutions were utilized well by the manager of Arsenal, and you have to give him his flowers for what he did, because it's not all that easy for a manager to obviously come up and obviously do that in a game like this. So Jesus is one of those players that has shown his quality, and I'm gonna hate to see them really be. I'm gonna hate to see Sky Sports giving him the man of the match. And I'm going to be returning with the player ratings here in the next 2 hours to see who is who and where has every player going to obviously go. I think it's good to start off a year like this, and it really sends you back to those memories where Arsenal did in 2024. They started 2024 with a bang, and they are scoring in very many goals. And by the way, in 2024, they only lost to Aston Villa, Newcastle, and Bournemouth. They've registered 3 losses. So this year has started with them winning. We don't know how far they are really gonna go without losing a game. In the comment section, I'm calling for your reactions into the comment section below. But Arsenal have gone ahead to win this game of football by 3-1. Congratulations to Arsenal fans all over the world. Go push. This might be your year to win this trophy. And the manager has also gone ahead to talk about that, is Mikel Arteta, that we've gone ahead to obviously do lots of things, but what is left is us winning these trophies that we've gone ahead to chase for 2 to 3 consecutive seasons in a row that we haven't gone ahead to obviously lift. I'm out. Bye-bye.